I'm Kerry.
And I'm Katie.
And this is Grave Silence. So, yeah, well, we're back.
We're back.
We're back. We were here before with this, but we're back again.
I have a sense of deja vu.
I have a slight sense of deja vu.
It's all good.
But it's okay, because we've decided, when we put it out originally, the case that we're going to do, we had a couple of comments, didn't we? Not a lot, to be fair.
True.
But I'm not one to take things lightly on the chin, as we know. And I don't like comments like, do better, for instance. And quite frankly, as I've already said to you, it's lucky that you run the Facebook page. Because you give a very sensible grown-up response, Katie, whereas my response would have been very different. However, whatever your name was, because I didn't pay that much attention
Angel
to be quite honest with you,
somebody.
I don't really care. We will not be told to do better in this podcast, because here at Grave Silence we take constructive criticism on the chin.
Yes.
So we went back over and we made a decision. Well, I sort of made a decision, and Katie just went, okay, Kerry. So we made the decision, or I made the decision, to dig deep and delve, because I was not aware, if I'm honest with you, I hold my hands up, I was not aware of the Freedom of Information
the US
files,
putting everything online
that had come out
in
relation to Gypsy and her mum's case. And although I had seen obviously some of the videos that we mentioned previously, and to be honest with you, the script hasn't changed massively, but what I wanted to do is made sure that when we went back over this case and put in basically the views of the people as they said them. So it would be allegedly if I don't know any different.
Exactly, but it's been fact checked as far as we can fact check it.
It's been fact checked. I have been up until 4:30.
Not fixated
this morning. Not fixated at all. And like I said, I don't like being told that I've done something half-heartedly. No. So therefore, I've gone over it and I've gone through all the files. I've gone through an amazing podcast on YouTube called In the Weeds, and they are amazing. Those girls have asked for all the details, and it's been sent to them, and they've got everything. So I've gone through their stuff. I've also gone through the crime records. I've gone through what medical records are available, and I've also sat and watched the HBO documentary, which I just showed you some of as well, didn't I? Yeah. Mummy, Dead and Dearest. So with that being said, the things that are in the script are coming from the horses' mouths, and I don't mean Gypsy, because I am well aware that she's probably not telling too many truths, because she's going to spin her own narrative. As we know, there's always three sides to a story.
Of course, and she's grown up with that, hasn't she? But we'll speak more about that later.
But like I said, there's always three sides to a story. There's one person's side, there's the other person's side, and there's the truth.
Somewhere in the middle shall lay.
So, as I said, with that being said, hopefully this script doesn't offend too many people. Like I said, it wasn't a massive amount. You know, there was literally like 2 comments, but I don't deal very well. It's probably the ADHD in me, I'm afraid. I don't deal very well with. It wasn't constructive criticism, shall we say? It was more a bit of a spiteful dig, and I thought, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having our good name slandered with all the hard work that we put into this. So therefore I went back and I corrected myself, and I stand on that hill that if I'm wrong, I will admit it, and if I feel there is anything that has not been covered, I will also admit it. So therefore I have redone my due dilly, and we shall bring to you the new revised Gypsy.
New Don Dilly Dandy.
The new all bells and whistles.
Thoroughly
Gypsy.
Stand by any decision that you want to make regarding anything like this.
I know, because you are amazing.
We are not gonna, we're gonna say things that people disagree with. We're gonna share views that people will disagree with. However, your research stands. Like you say, you've changed 2 comments in this whole thing. All the information, all the facts were there.
Yeah.
But in order to be fair,
yeah,
and to take on board what was said about that,
I will. Yeah, and I like I said, I've gone through it.
Better.
Anything that's said in it, I've taken from the horses' mouths.
Yeah.
I've taken from Rod, from Christy, from Dee Dee's parents, documentation that I found. So with that, I think we should begin after I've now had my rant. Apologies for those that didn't moan.
You just get an extra bonus episode.
And it just means, you've just got
more of us.
Absolutely, you lucky sausages.
So before we start, let's Danny Dyer it.
Let's Danny Dyer it. Slag. And away we go. Claudine Dee Dee Petrie was born in May 1967 in Chack Bay, Louisiana, into a large Cajun family with deep roots in the bayou.
In the bayou.
And I said it before and I say it again. I want me a piece of that action. I want to go down there. I love the Creole accent. I'm all into New Orleans, Louisiana. Love me hearing about all that. So, and again,
love it.
Stand by
I'm there
it.
with you.
I need to go there.
Grave Silence on tour.
Yeah, pod tour coming up. Her father, Claude, remembered her as an okay child, his words.
Right.
Who tended to he said that basically they had a really good relationship, and they got on quite well, but she tended to get whatever she wanted from him. So I get the impression she was probably a little bit of a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
And we've all been there, haven't we, at some point. Within the wider family, however, Dee Dee's reputation was far less benign. Relatives alleged that she stole between $3,000 and $4,000 from her grandfather, opened credit cards in her father's name, and was wanted in the Slidell area for various disputes. Her nephew Bobby described her bluntly as an evil person.
Don't hold back there, Bobby.
That's a very strong statement to make, isn't it?
Mind you, her dad's already said she was okay as a child.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, full of praise. Praise.
On watching him in the documentary, I get the impression he's probably not a very emotional, emotionally led man.
Sure.
But to describe your child as an okay child,
yeah.
but then taking what possibly has happened to the family, maybe he's got his grievances. Family even suggested that Dee Dee may have allowed her own mother, Emma, to slowly starve to death. Dee Dee's stepmother, Laura Petrie, claimed that during an argument, Dee Dee once tried to poison her food with weed killer.
Jesus Christ, Dee Dee.
Bit of Roundup. Lovely. By 1986, at 22, Dee Dee was running as South Lafoire ROTC military queen, and in her late teens she had worked as a nurse's aide, a job that gave her direct access to medical environments. The practical experience she gained there made her adept at describing symptoms and conditions in ways that sounded medically credible. That familiarity later became a tool she used to convincingly portray the illnesses she claimed her daughter Gypsy suffered from, persuading both the public and medical professionals.
Yes.
And I stand by that because I've seen the evidence. Anyway, moving on. I'm not bitter.
She's not over it.
I'm not over it. She met 17-year-old Rod Blanchard at a bowling alley when she was 24. They entered a relationship quickly, and after she became pregnant, they married in December 1990. Rod later said he felt pressured into the marriage because he wanted to be a good Christian man.
Oh.
Interesting. And admitted he never loved Dee Dee, which is a bit sad, really, isn't it?
I know, but he's only 17, Christ.
Yeah, I know. And it's just a bit sad that you get to that conclusion after you've married someone and had a baby with them that you never really loved them.
Felt pushed into it.
Yeah. They separated before their daughter was born, recognising they were incompatible, but Rod continued to send child support and attempted to remain involved. Gypsy-Rose Blanchard was born healthy on the 27th of July 1991 with no complications. Dee Dee began shaping a narrative almost immediately, telling people, and from Rod's words, that Gypsy had been premature. She told Rod that her daughter had sleep apnea and insisted on repeating overnight monitoring. When tests came back normal, she shifted to new claims. Gypsy had eye problems, hearing issues, digestive disorders, muscular dystrophy, and eventually leukemia. Jesus. She shaved Gypsy's head to mimic chemotherapy side effects, telling Rod and others that it would fall out anyway.
That's ramping up quickly, isn't it? From being premature to then...
brutal, isn't it? Shaving the kid's head, Jesus. Around the age of 5, Gypsy began using a wheelchair because Dee Dee insisted she couldn't walk.
Rod later said that Dee Dee's sister told him she'd seen Gypsy walking in the backyard. When he confronted Dee Dee, she claimed that Gypsy's disease caused muscle pain and that she could only walk occasionally, but that it was progressive and would worsen. Soon after, Dee Dee and Gypsy moved further away, limiting opportunities for anyone to question the situation. Dee Dee insisted Gypsy needed a feeding tube, seizure medication, a breathing machine at night, and a series of intrusive, unnecessary procedures. Gypsy had her stomach lining wrapped around her esophagus, was fitted with a feeding tube, and in 2006, after Botox failed to reduce her saliva production, Dee Dee requested the removal of both the submandibular glands.
That's grim, isn't it?
It's just having a saliva gland.
That and all.
My mouth's gone into PTSD just thinking about saying it, I'll be quite honest with you. Having your saliva glands removed, good God.
That's so intrusive, and a feeding tube as well.
Dee Dee told Rod that Gypsy would not live to see 18.
Jesus.
Imagine being told that about your daughter.
I know.
You know,
and having really limited contact with her as well, because he said he tried to stay involved.
Yeah,
but
she moved further and further
she moved away, and I remember one quote that he was saying that basically not so much even just move further away, but she would be there whenever he'd ring Gypsy, and she'd kind of spin the narrative that either Gypsy's tired or she's asleep or she's, so trying to create those barriers.
Yes,
from a young age.
Throughout the late 1990s, the list of claimed illnesses expanded. Dee Dee said Gypsy had leukemia, asthma, epilepsy, anemia, allergies, incontinence, lung disease, and a heart murmur.
My God.
She told people Gypsy was mentally incompetent, and Rod believed that she was developmentally 5 years behind her actual age. So Gypsy does have a real chromosome disorder.
Yeah, she does.
It's called 1q21.1 microdeletion, which can cause delayed development, muscle weakness, mild intellectual difficulties, eye issues such as strabismus, heart problems, and an increased risk of seizures.
Now, interestingly, before we kind of crack on, I now wonder, now don't get me wrong, from what I've seen and what I've read, I believe wholeheartedly that Dee Dee was she was milking it for all she could,
100%.
and she was sort of putting her through these things. But do you think there was an element of knowing that Gypsy had this chromosome disorder and that she had, delayed development, possibility of muscle weakness? She's probably, gone on research that. Do you think that there's an element of her possibly pushing for other things to be done to kind of investigate this chromosome deletion?
I mean, it's a possibility, but some of the things that she's pushing, so for example, the feeding tube and the saliva glands and all that are not at all linked in any way, shape or form.
Leukemia.
No, for me, it met a need for Dee Dee. She by the sounds of things from her early life, she's grown up having a need met by manipulating things and falsifying things regarding, fraud and stuff when she's younger.
And it gains attention and it gains monetary value.
And now she's got this daughter who can get everybody to want to look after her and feel sorry
and
for
come across
her
as a
and
caregiver.
Sympathetic and Dee Dee the hero, She withdrew Gypsy from school at around the 2nd grade, claiming her illnesses made attendance impossible.
And it probably would do, not the illnesses itself, for the constant hospital visits and things like that would absolutely affect her schooling, wouldn't it?
So 2nd grade, that's what, 6-7 years old maybe?
Yeah, it's about that.
Yeah. After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, Dee Dee used the disaster to her advantage by claiming that their medical records had been destroyed, effectively erasing years of contradictory information. She's also believed to have altered at least one version of Gypsy's birth certificate, changing the birth year to 1995 so Gypsy would appear younger. Gypsy later said she spent 14 years unsure of her true age. This pattern of deception, manipulation, and medical fabrication formed the foundation of the life that Dee Dee built around her daughter, one that would eventually unravel in the most catastrophic way imaginable.
Don't we know it? It's an understatement. Jesus.
It's not going to go well. This is building and building and building and building.
I mean, if you don't know the case.
If you didn't listen to our last episode on this case, unfortunately the end isn't any different.
The ending doesn't change, I'm afraid, guys.
Dee Dee sometimes explained the discrepancy in Gypsy's birth records by claiming the original document had been lost in the flooding after Hurricane Katrina. In 2009, however, she told the Division of Family Services that she had, quote, had a bad marriage, got divorced, and due to her fear of her ex-husband, i.e. Rod, she had changed her daughter's information at the hospital so that her husband would not be able to find them.
Yeah, and I've seen that document.
Fucking livid.
That's literally the quote in it.
So now I'm not only manipulating everybody to feel sorry for me and my daughter because she's got all these illnesses and she needs treatment that she hasn't actually got. Hurricane Katrina has played into my narrative because I have lost all of the documents that were having anything recorded. So relying on those services, those endless paediatricians that I'm going to look back at things that might be on a shared system that probably aren't across, city lines and filed in different ways back then. And now I'm a victim of domestic abuse and I live in fear of my ex-husband that he may track us down, despite no police record of any domestic violence, no call out, no argument, no threats, nothing.
And on my trawl through the many hundreds and hundreds of documents last night, there is a police document, however, sharing that Dee Dee had been violent at one point. So she assaulted a Domino's pizza guy because he was going to deliver a pizza and she tried to pay for it with a gift certificate that was out of state.
Right.
And when he wouldn't accept it, she clawed at his neck and left claw marks on his neck.
What a charming woman.
Isn't she delightful? So I don't doubt, and like I said, and I stand by this when we said it in the last episode of Gypsy, I am not saying in any way, shape or form that Dee Dee has deserved what she's had.
No, nobody does.
What I am criticising is the facts that have been gone through and the evidence sharing that there are elements of lying and manipulation.
100%. 100%.
So, when professionals later reviewed Gypsy's records, many noted that the information was consistently documented as upon mother's information or upon history by mother. Dee Dee took Gypsy to the hospital over 100 times over a 9-year period. So I think it was like between 2005 and 2014, 100 times.
Jesus Christ.
And again, like I said, I watched the documentary last night and I saw that I think it was Gypsy's lawyer go through the medical information, and you can see him pointing out, saying that it's from mother's history, mother saying it. In one record, Dee Dee reportedly held her hands over Gypsy's ears so she wouldn't be offended, while Dee Dee stated that Gypsy had mental retardation and a 7-year-old's mental level.
Jesus Christ.
And that's written in medical documents.
Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ.
That's horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, that word in anyway, I think it's just a fucking horrendous word to use at the but that is awful.
Just stripping her of any autonomy she might have been given within those appointments.
Medical files also show that Dee Dee altered the family history depending on which specialist she was speaking to.
Of course she did.
At cardiology appointments, she claimed that relatives had died of a heart attack. So she's run with that narrative, which obviously, pushes forward again that there's a history of medical concerns around the heart at the cardiologist, shaping the narrative to suit whatever condition she was trying to convince doctors Gypsy had. Paediatric neurologist Dr. Bernardo Flusterstein, I love that name, noted in 2009 that, quotation marks, "Mother is not a good historian." Interesting.
Darn right she isn't.
Well, he wrote that Gypsy's legs showed no signs of the muscle wastage expected after nearly 9 years in a wheelchair, and that she was able to support her own body weight.
Oh, I wonder how.
He also contacted a previous neurologist who confirmed that Gypsy did not have muscular dystrophy. Records further stated that although Dee Dee claimed Gypsy had epilepsy, her Tegretol level was undetectable and she had experienced no seizures. On that same document, Gypsy's date of birth was listed as the 27th of the 7th, 1993. And you can literally see it at the top of the document. Habitat for Humanity built Dee Dee and Gypsy a small pink house in Springfield, Missouri, complete with wheelchair ramps, a medical suite and a jacuzzi tub. Nice. The home became a symbol of community generosity and of Dee Dee's, and possibly Gypsy's, as I will later go on to sort of cross
Chat
on.
about, yeah.
Yeah, carefully curated narrative. Neighbours believed Gypsy was a fragile, terminally ill child. Dee Dee told them she had the mind of a young girl, reinforcing the infantilisation that kept Gypsy dependent on her.
She fucking babied her, didn't she?
She did baby
she
her. Her and that
infantised her.
fucking irritating voice. I probably shouldn't. Well, do you know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
she sounds
we
awful.
didn't do it in the last pod, and we're fucking doing it on this one, all right? So if we've redone it, we're going to include all the things that piss us off, because frankly, we're pissed off that we've redone it. All right?
Yeah,
but we're not really. But you know what I mean.
We're not.
So her voice is really like, she does babyfy when she's talking, when she wants a need met, when she wants to see her in interviews.
She does, yeah.
She'll talk almost normally, and then she'll go back to talking like this.
She does.
And that's all to get a need met.
Yeah.
But that's what she was shown.
100%. And I listened to some phone calls last night between her and her grandma, and the one that I noticed straight away, literally as soon as I listened to it, at the beginning, obviously it states that it's from a federal state prison, and then it asks who's ringing, and she says, Gypsy-Rose. Like that, literally. Tiny little squeaky fucking mouse voice. As soon as her grandma comes on the phone, she goes, hi, Grandma. And it goes about 3 pitches higher, and she's looking for that, I'm a child, I'm regressed.
Yes.
Look after me, feel sorry for
please,
me.
Protect me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it sounds really, really falsified.
But that would have been the narrative over and over and over at every charity event, at every, doctor's appointment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would have been, had it not been started by Dee Dee and then followed on by Gypsy, because if I'm honest with you, I don't believe that later on she wasn't in on the grift.
Yeah, she knows the difference between right and wrong.
Absolutely. But here we are. So during Gypsy's adolescence, it was marked obviously by unnecessary medical procedures. Surgeons, as we know, inserted feeding tubes despite her possibly not needing it. I mean, we know that this chromosome deletion might have caused gastrointestinal problems. However, I don't think it's to the extent of her ever of needing a feeding tube. Well, we know that now because she doesn't need one. She's obviously had the Botox, and Gypsy's teeth decayed due to over-medication. And Dee Dee attributed the tooth loss as well to chemotherapy that Gypsy had never actually received.
Just the more I understand about this, the more sickening it is.
Yeah, I think of this as very much, and we will explain it at the end, as a double-edged sword, this case. Yeah. So psychologists believe that Dee Dee had Munchausen by proxy. Dr. Flasterstein wrote in his medical notes that he suspected she suffered from the disorder, but explained that pursuing the accusations would likely be dismissed because no other medical professional had raised the concern. Munchausen by proxy is now formally called factitious disorder imposed on another, or FDIA, a form of medical child abuse in which a caregiver deliberately creates, exaggerates, or fabricates illness in a dependent person, usually a child. The motivation is not financial gain, but attention, sympathy, and validation from medical staff, family, or the community.
But you know what? Fucking hell, I believe this was financial gain as well. Because all those charities, all these events, they had a house built. All this stuff.
Absolutely.
Damn right they profited.
I genuinely think that from my point of view, and I'm not saying this is everybody's point of view, but from my point of view, I believe that she had Munchausen. Yeah. I believe it was for attention, but I do also feel that it was a grift. Yeah. It was pull the wool over everyone's eyes, 101, because we get X, Y, Z.
It ticked every box, didn't it? It goes back to that fraud that she did as a younger adult, goes back to that, and she's found a way that she can get more.
She can now, The behaviour can involve lying about symptoms, manipulating medical samples, or actively causing medical problems such as infections, dehydration, or poisoning. The child is presented as chronically or mysteriously ill, and the caregiver often appears unusually devoted and attentive, making the abuse difficult to detect. Symptoms frequently disappear when the child is separated from the caregiver and return when they are reunited.
Becomes a role that they play, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Children subjected to FDIA often endure repeated hospital admissions, unnecessary tests, surgeries, and medications. Their medical history typically contains contradictions, unexplained findings, or symptoms that do not match clinical results. Perpetrators often have medical knowledge or experience, as Dee Dee did as a nurse, enabling them to describe conditions convincingly and navigate the healthcare system effectively. The underlying cause is a psychological disorder rooted in a need for attention and control. Many perpetrators have histories of trauma or instability, though not all follow a single pattern. Most deny wrongdoing, even when confronted with the evidence.
Which is what she did with Rod.
Yeah, 100%.
When he asked her about whether Gypsy could
Walking, yeah.
it was a different story.
Yeah.
And then to somebody else, it was a different
Yeah.
story. And to the neighbours, it's a different story.
And then she avoided and took her away
Yeah.
further.
Yeah.
And developed this narrative of being a woman, you know, running away from domestic abuse from fear. Diagnosis of this is extremely challenging because doctors must first rule out genuine illness. Suspicion grows when symptoms occur only in the caregiver's presence, when treatments consistently fail without clear explanation, or when medical findings conflict with the caregiver's reports. Confirmed cases require evidence that the caregiver has falsified or induced illness. In Dee Dee's case, the attention and financial support she received for Gypsy involved convincing charities, hospitals, and community groups that she was a devoted single mother caring for a catastrophically ill child. The charity involvement became extensive. Dee Dee and Gypsy received free trips to Disney World.
Nice.
Stays at Ronald McDonald houses.
Creepy.
Still creepy.
Still
A
creepy.
clown.
Still creepy. Still a clown. Still convinced that he should have his hard drive checked.
Backstage passes to events and meet and greets with celebrities. Gypsy met Miranda Lambert, who posed for photos with her during a charity event and gifted her signed merchandise.
I'm really sorry, Miranda. I still don't know who you
Still
are.
Don't really know. Despite the thorough research until 4 a.m. this morning.
Until 4:30 this morning, I still don't know who you are. Apologies.
But we're safe with this list because she also met Sean Austin, Elijah Wood, Jared Leto, Taylor Swift, and Selena Gomez.
Oh, Swiftie.
Who were involved in Disney-related charity events and spent time with her during one of the Orlando trips. These encounters reinforced the public perception that Gypsy was a terminally ill child whose life was defined by courage and suffering. Dee Dee used these moments to strengthen her narrative, often telling people that Gypsy's health was declining and that these experiences were once-in-a-lifetime opportunities before her condition worsened. They were flown to Orlando multiple times.
That's insane.
Given VIP treatment and provided with free meals, accommodation and entertainment. Gypsy was given princess dresses, stuffed animals, toys and themed experiences designed for a terminally ill child.
That's crazy.
Local churches donated money, clothing and food. Community group held fundraisers to pay for medical equipment Gypsy did not need, and Dee Dee accepted all of it with gratitude, reinforcing her image as a tireless caregiver.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? That's insane.
Lie after lie after lie after lie. And I think, you know, Gypsy's one of the things that she has said, and you see in some of the videos of her and her mum together, is that her mum would hold her hand during discussions or during interviews or thanks to camera and so on for these gifts and things. And if Gypsy started to talk a little bit off from the narrative, Dee Dee would squeeze her hands.
Or hug her. And her aunt backed that up, actually. Now, I don't honestly believe much that comes out of Gypsy-Rose's mouth.
No, I don't think she understands what's true and what's not anymore. It's just that.
I don't, from what I've seen, I don't follow her on social media or anything like that. I've got no interest in her whatsoever in that respect. I don't believe much that comes out of her mouth, but her aunt backed that up and said that Dee Dee would be holding her hand and it would be constant. If Gypsy would say anything, she would squeeze. Well, by her late teens, though, Gypsy had other ideas.
Of course she did.
Away from the cameras and public eye, she knew she could walk. She could eat normally without a feeding tube, and she was accessing the internet and joining online communities. In February 2011, during a sci-fi convention called VisionCon, Gypsy made her first serious attempt to escape. She'd arranged to meet a man named Dan Glidewell, whom she'd met online, and Dee Dee eventually found out about them together. According to Gypsy, now this is Gypsy's account, so
pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt. Dee Dee located her at a mutual friend's house she shared with Dan. Gypsy said she returned voluntarily after Dee Dee promised she could continue the relationship. Now, Dan went on to testify at Godejohn's trial.
Yeah.
And we learn more about Godejohn later, obviously. And he says that he invited Gypsy to meet him one night at his cousin's house after he fell from a balcony and wanted comforting. He said Gypsy arrived with a large pink suitcase and without her wheelchair, carrying a binder of documentation to prove she was over 18. God. That's crazy 101 in itself, isn't it?
But it's probably what she feels she has to do because she's.
Yeah, I get
everyone's
that.
been told that she's not mentally competent.
Absolutely. I mean, if she's been spun that narrative, she's going to feel she has to prove herself anyway, isn't she? But so Dee Dee showed up the next morning and told Dan the documents were fake and that Gypsy was underage.
Awkward.
Jesus. Gypsy later alleged that once they were home, Dee Dee smashed her computer and phone with a hammer and warned her she would smash her fingers next. Now, again, these are Gypsy's words, so without having anyone else there confirming this, we don't know that. I don't know. I mean, obviously, look, I've seen a police report that Dee Dee has been volatile. We know that she is a porcupire, to say the minimum about the situation.
Yeah.
Whether she used physical chastisement on Gypsy, I don't know.
You know as well as I do that the older a kid gets, the harder they are to control.
Yeah, and I feel that Gypsy was, from what I've read and from what I've seen, I feel Gypsy was probably a very difficult child as she got older because she was obviously rebelling against what had gone on.
Yeah, you would be fucking difficult though,
wouldn't you? And I don't dispute that. I think that Gypsy obviously went through a lot of trauma, but I don't necessarily think that she wasn't as unaware later on as what she's made out.
No, I don't disagree with you on that score. And we do have to take everything that she says with a pinch of salt because she contradicts herself later on in further interviews and in making different statements and so on. However, I can imagine the thought of Dee Dee losing control of her meal ticket, of Gypsy sticking to this narrative.
Yeah.
I can 100% believe that she may have used or threatened physical
violence at some point. Yeah,
because Gypsy's becoming out of her control.
Yeah, there's every possibility. I mean, to the extent we don't know, we've only got Gypsy's word on it, and we know that Gypsy's, manipulated a lot of situations. But yeah, who's to say that she wasn't physical at one point? We don't know, do we? Gypsy claimed she was then restrained with a leash and handcuffs and that Dee Dee withheld food for 2 weeks. Now, I don't know. Again, nobody was there. We've only got one side of the story. We will never have Dee Dee's side of the story on that.
No.
I don't know. But this is what Gypsy claims. She also said Dee Dee told her she had filed paperwork declaring her mentally incompetent, convincing Gypsy that authorities would not believe her if she asked for help.
Again, it wouldn't surprise me if in order to keep that control, Dee Dee is reaching to further and further claims to say to Gypsy, what's the point in you trying to do anything else than what I have established that we are going to do next?
Yeah. Dan testified that he stayed in contact with Gypsy after all this, though, via video chat, and that they exchanged explicit videos, including, hold on to your hats, people, Gypsy masturbating with a toothbrush.
Oh, Gypsy. I mean, that's made me think of the adverts very differently now, if I'm honest with you.
What adverts? Listerine.
No.
Not Listerine.
I can't think of a toothbrush brand.
Colgate.
I can't think of a toothbrush brand.
Colgate.
Do you know those really posh ones that
Oral
you get?
B.
Oral B. That's what I've got. Oral B, electric toothbrush. Light comes on if you press too hard.
Oh, well, happy days. Maybe that's what she wanted.
Jesus.
Oh, that's grim, isn't it?
I hope she changed the head.
Oh.
Sorry. TMI. We don't need that visual. But also then you kind of think how? So Dee Dee has allegedly smashed up Gypsy's computer. and she's under really like tighter surveillance now.
And this is the thing,
and
that,
this is able to
then
happen.
continue. So how much of what Gypsy says is true? Because at the end of the day, she is spinning the narrative that she's not of a danger now. She's not manipulative. She's trying to come across as innocent as possible, isn't she? So she's going to feed into some narratives that things were worse.
Yeah.
So, but again, like I said, we'll never know, because we'll never hear Dee Dee's side of that now.
No. And even if she was alive, I don't think we'd ever know her side either.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know.
Like, truthfully.
Well, this is the thing. You tell one porcupine, and the rest of whatever you say is going to be brought into question, and that's on both sides. You know.
And that's the difficult thing. I think I always remember hearing, and this saying, and it's very, very true, that the truth is a singular thing.
Yeah.
One thing that happened, but the lies around that truth are infinite.
Absolutely.
Lies could be about anything in particular, and you've got to try and boil through all of those.
You can add on,
to
you
get
can
to
take away. Yeah, 100%.
It's just an infinite field of possibilities when
Shitstorm.
You're lying, isn't it? Exactly. Well, that's a much better way of putting it.
Yeah.
And that's what's being created.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dan also then went on to say that Gypsy had told him that she had a boyfriend named Nicholas at this time, claiming she said it to make him jealous.
In June 2011, Gypsy made another escape attempt by shooting her mum 10 times with a BB gun.
Fucking Nora.
Believing at first that it was a real firearm. Dee Dee told others the injuries came from a robbery attempt at a nearby Walmart. Now, this is interesting.
I was just going to say exactly the same thing.
She thinks it's real. She shot her mum 10 times, thinking it was real. So that intent is there at that point.
At that point.
If we, and Dee Dee is covering it up.
I was just going to say, however, what we've got is Dee Dee then covering for her.
Yeah, because I suppose if Gypsy gets apprehended from doing that to her mum, again,
everything
the whole
comes
life
out.
Falls apart, doesn't it? Again,
it all unravels, doesn't it?
What we go for to protect a lie. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
All that work.
It's such a wild case. It is such a wild case.
Around the same time, Gypsy has said that she hid from her mother to access the computer, and later said she posted sexually explicit images of herself online because it made her feel more confident about her appearance. And we know that teenagers today do this, don't they?
God,
in order to get, and it's
some sort of gratification, isn't it? It's somebody at some point will see those photos and say you're attractive,
And this is how I manipulate attention, and this is how I get positive.
Yeah, it's another.
I haven't learned those normal skills in society because I'm not out in normal society. In February 2012, police were called after Dee Dee and Gypsy were caught shoplifting just over $21 worth of arts and crafts supplies from a Hobby Lobby.
Worth it then.
Worth it. The items had been concealed under Gypsy's legs in the wheelchair.
Nice.
Dee Dee told officers that they'd just returned from Disney World, planned to make a scrapbook, and that the theft had been accidental. It fell under there. I don't know how it got there. My daughter can't lift her own legs because she's got muscle wastage disease. So I'm going to
dystrophy.
I'm going to flip her legs around, shove these
fucking glitter pens,
some pipe cleaners, and a Pritt stick under her legs to hide it. Whoops, dearie me, we forgot to pay for them.
Jesus, wet. But again, sorry, I was going to say, is it that it's a thrill of something, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm getting away with something.
Yeah.
Going back to the credit card fraud and things like that, and accumulating money. Gypsy later said that Dee Dee taught her how to shoplift by using her wheelchair to conceal items.
And I've seen videos, again last night, I've seen videos of Gypsy, it's almost like she's giving a tutorial about how to go on the rob.
Yeah.
How to go on the nick.
Because that was normal. That was normal for her. And she knew
it
was wrong, but it was normal.
Yeah, and that in itself is what, that statement there that you've said, is what I think about Gypsy. Gypsy knows right from wrong.
She does. I do think she was groomed and exploited and manipulated to doing those things.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
a different upbringing, I don't think Gypsy would have done any of those things. Had she been able to live like the typical
Yeah.
child that she was, with just the chromosome deficit that she does have, you know, what could her life have been? She
Very
wasn't ever
different,
going to monkey see, monkey do. She
Yeah.
wasn't ever going to do anything different
Yeah.
to what dear old Dee Dee had taught her.
She's learnt
because
that now, isn't she?
that was the only person she had
Yeah.
as a role model.
Yeah.
By 2012, Gypsy continued accessing the internet and joined a Christian dating site where she met Nicholas Godejohn, a young man from Wisconsin diagnosed with autism and having been assessed having an IQ of around 82. He had a previous conviction for masturbating in public.
Jesus Christ.
Should I not say that bit?
No,
Let's not do
crack on,
that.
crack on.
Crack on. It's all fine. Sure, he did. I'm sure we've all done it, haven't we? No, we haven't.
No,
not
no.
myself included. No.
Not saying I've been there, but you know.
But we do know that neurodivergent young people sometimes struggle to understand what is and isn't socially acceptable.
Absolutely.
Around learning about how their bodies feel, you know,
what
learning
feels nice,
about self-stimulation,
and
where that's appropriate, and you know,
and possibly what's right from wrong
Yeah.
in some situations.
Yeah. They shared over 100 videos during their online relationship. That's some going. I struggle.
I struggle to get a TikTok video on once a week for this fucking podcast, let alone 100 of bloody over 100.
I just, oh my God,
Oh.
what are they doing? Well, we know what they're doing. We're going to find out what they're doing. So Gypsy used multiple personas, including one named Ruby, who she described as her evil side.
Dodgy.
In these videos, she said,
This is
quote,
grim.
"The plan for if we have a boy first, we're going to protect him and our children from the outside world because they can't know about you being a vampire."
Ooh.
And, quote, "If we have a girl, the way it has to be, she has to lose her virginity to you because you are the master of the household. I will have to explain that to her when she's of an age where it's time to explain it. Like, not when she's 7, more like when she's around 13. End quote.
Fucking hell.
So, Gypsy is playing along in this role that Nicholas Godejohn is a vampire, and she is explaining how he, as the father, will have to take his daughter's virginity because he is the master of the household.
Now,
and you know, she said it in that voice.
She did. I've seen it.
I've seen it. I mean, maybe take that out.
It's fucking horrendous. I've seen it. It's vile. It is vile, and I do not care how much you are trying to supposedly get somebody to love you and be in love with them, be in love with you. Like she is quoted that she said that, you know, she just wanted him to make her love her and vice versa. Fucking a leap too far. A leap too far. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
It turns my stomach.
Unacceptable.
In 2014, Gypsy confided in her neighbour Aaliyah about her online relationship with Godejohn and shared some of the extent of the BDSM contact they had discussed. She said it was more his interest than hers.
Of course she did.
But they hoped to elope together. Aaliyah tried to dissuade her from going through with it.
It's more of his interest, but I've done over 100 videos to you in several dodgy fucking wigs, I might like to point out.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous wigs. And quite frankly, hours and hours and hours of footage, which I'm now scarred for fucking life, I might like to put out.
Right? PTSD again.
I'm broad-shouldered. You know, I can take a lot, but gross. Don't lay the blame all at his fucking door.
No. And I wonder, you know, what are the content of the videos back?
I've seen them.
Does he go that far?
Not to that extent. He never once says that he's a vampire. And to me, he comes across as a very vulnerable young lad. A very vulnerable young lad. And quite obviously, there's learning difficulties there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't come across as a very manipulative person. Yes, some of the things he says are not acceptable, absolutely, and what he's done is not acceptable. However, he comes across as a very vulnerable young guy.
Yeah. In 2015, Gypsy arranged and paid for Nicholas Godejohn to travel to Springfield so he could meet her mother. Her plan was for him to accidentally encounter them at a movie theatre while they were in costume, hoping to build a relationship that Dee Dee might eventually accept. When they met in person for the first time in March 2015, during a showing of Cinderella,
Good film.
Godejohn said Gypsy led him into the bathroom stall where they had sex before the film.
Oh.
I mean, I like the film as well.
What? Love's Young Dream.
Love's Young Dream. I'm going to go back to the fairy tale, Prince Charming and Cinderella, and you know it's got the guy from Game of Thrones in it with the piercing blue eyes.
Yeah, it has.
And he did BBC drama as well as a terrorism cop.
I can't remember what his name is in Game of Thrones, but he
but
died at the Red Wedding.
Yeah. Rob. Spoilers, but he dies at the Red Wedding.
Spoilers in Game of Thrones.
Do you know what? We're actually quoting a show that I've actually seen.
Well done.
Not the last series,
but
the rest of it.
But not House of Dragon.
I heard how it ended, like the last series.
Yeah.
So I just didn't bother.
Oh, fair.
After learning where Hodor got his name from.
Hold the door.
Yeah. My fucking God, I was in bits.
My heart broke.
I was in bits. Anyway, I digress. But they've shagged in a bathroom stall before Cinderella. Love's Young Dream.
She's had a TP clean up.
I wonder if she flossed.
Oh,
too much. Take it out. Won't make the edit. It's fine.
Nah,
don't
leave it in.
Angel.
At this point, we're over it. It's the second record. I'm done.
Don't fuck yourself. They continued communicating online afterwards and began forming a plan to kill Dee Dee. Godejohn later said that Gypsy told him that as long as her mother was alive, they could not be together, and that removing her was the only solution.
Jesus.
Less than a month before the murder, Gypsy sent Godejohn a video of herself walking into her mother's room, pointing at Dee Dee's pillow and miming a stabbing motion.
It's just all so premeditated.
Premeditation. After receiving money Gypsy had stolen and mailed to him so that he could buy a bus ticket, Nicholas returned to Springfield in June 2015. He arrived the day after Gypsy and Dee Dee had been in the emergency room for the replacement of Gypsy's feeding tube. That same day, after the two returned home from a Dollar General, they argued, reconciled, and spent the evening painting each other's nails. Gypsy later said the final words her mother spoke to her were, "I'm starting to feel more relaxed. Don't hurt me."
Interesting quote.
Isn't it just?
Interesting quote. Why would she say "don't hurt me"? I wonder if maybe Gypsy was violent. She said she's not, right? This is the facts I know after watching that. Gypsy said that she never at any point, after she claims that her mum was physically violent towards her, Gypsy claims that she never hit her back. Maybe that's a "don't hurt me" emotionally.
I think that's the way I read it. I think.
Fair. I just wonder. That's just my hypothesis. Maybe has there been an occasion where Gypsy has smacked her back again? We don't know.
When she was rebelling, when she was trying to get away, she's already tried to escape twice. But for me, I guess I interpret that is, don't leave me again, don't hurt me.
Maybe.
Don't do this to me. Don't argue with me again.
Yeah. And there was an incident, not a violent incident, but another incident where she tried to, it's believed, reading from the police report, that she may have tried to run away. So Dee Dee put in a police report that her plates and her keys had been stolen.
Right.
If I remember rightly, from her car.
Right.
And she reported it, and then she went on to say, I've only got one set of keys and things, very much like, very, very much straight away, feel sorry for me. I've only got one set of keys to it. Do you know what I mean? It comes across very much like that. But it's felt that it may have possibly been Gypsy that stole the number plates and stole the key. But because the keys have gone missing, why wouldn't you take the car?
Yeah, exactly that. Actually, I hadn't thought of that.
And was it a case of, did Gypsy try and take the plates and the keys so that Dee Dee couldn't follow her because she'd gone on the walkabouts?
Was this another covered up attempt, like the BB gun was, and the
absolutely
got held up in Walmart?
Absolutely. So Gypsy let Godejohn into the house while Dee Dee slept. She gave him duct tape, gloves, and a knife she'd stolen. Gypsy claimed Godejohn pushed her into the bathroom reached around the door and locked it from the inside. Now, I don't know how you're going to do that.
Has he got magic hands?
Apparently so.
Is he Inspector Gadget? I mean, can he go through... What? Pushed her into the bathroom, so they've got a lock on the outside of the bathroom door. Is that what she's saying?
Gypsy, pinch of salt, I'd say. She shared she hid in the bathroom with her hands over her ears while Godejohn stabbed Dee Dee 17 times in the back as she slept.
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot.
That is rage, isn't it?
That's a lot. She said she covered her ears to avoid hearing her mother's screams. Godejohn, however, claimed she didn't open the door straight after the murder as she wanted to shave her private parts and her legs.
Okay, priorities.
He also said they had sex afterwards in the bedroom.
Right.
Gypsy alleged that the encounter was rape and that she agreed only because he told me that he was going to kill my mother and then rape her. So I made a deal that he would rape me and then he wouldn't do that to my mum. Godejohn stated in his police interview that obviously I was the one in charge, but she went along with it willingly. He shared that the sex concluded after she orgasmed and then gave him oral sex. Gypsy initially told police she had not gone back into her mother's room after the murder, but later, while in prison, her cellmate, Amanda Flores, and I've seen the statement from Amanda in her words, claimed that Gypsy told her she had cleaned up the blood from the bed to the bathroom with baby wipes and carpet cleaner.
Fucking hell. I mean, how far's a baby wipe going to go after 17 stab wounds? That's what I want to know.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Well, no, okay, don't say that, Katie. That's too much.
That's fine.
That's too much.
Flores also said Gypsy told her, "I'm going to get away with this." Damn. And claimed Gypsy said she put the knife in Godejohn's hand before he stabbed Dee Dee. So she said this in prison.
Yeah.
Flores also claims that Gypsy told her that she turned the aircon down to 40 degrees to preserve her mum's body. What? Jesus. That's really, if she did do that, and I'm not saying, obviously we've got a statement that's it's been said. However, what we've got is somebody's word. Right?
Yeah.
Who might have a grudge against Gypsy in prison. We don't know. I mean, I can't imagine she's particularly easy to get along with, if I'm honest with you. If she thinks she's, but who knows? However, another inmate, Michaela Lutz, told police that Gypsy cried about Nick being arrested, but not about her mother's death.
I kind of wonder as well, sorry, rewind a moment, why does she want to preserve her mum's body?
What she'd said was she knew that she was going out of town and wanted the body to be preserved.
Right, so as not
for longer,
to set off any
smells.
I see.
And
but I am going to put it on Facebook. Okay, got you. Now I'm with you.
Yeah. After the killing, Gypsy allegedly took $4,000 to $5,000 from the house and fled with Godejohn to a motel where they stayed for several days. Godejohn later said he felt horrible about it and that Gypsy repeatedly told him, "Stop crying, it was my idea, it wasn't yours."
I can imagine the voice. Stop crying, it was my idea, it wasn't yours. I mean, maybe cut that out as well, sorry.
I can see it's going to take me a lot of time to edit this shit. It
would side later, but don't do another half.
It's not ruining me, Fred and Rose.
It's not ruining me, Fred and Rose.
In a video Gypsy recorded in the motel the day after the murder, and this is in the documentary, you've seen this, haven't you? She can be heard laughing, and it's proper giggling, and she's got the camera in his face, and he's sat there in the buff. And she's laughing and giggling, and she turns around to him and she says, "He's eating a brownie, but later he will be eating me."
Oh, Gypsy!
I just
and
think
she's like giddy with laughter.
Yeah, and this is a day after her mum's been killed.
She sounds almost completely detached from it.
Which,
I don't know.
Yeah,
detached, but with emotion. I don't know.
I don't know.
Fuck knows what's going on in that brain.
They then travelled to Godejohn's home in Wisconsin, where they had mailed the murder weapon. Gypsy posted a message on the shared Facebook account with her and her mum saying, "That bitch is dead," followed by another saying, in the comments, after people have asked how Dee Dee is, and
Are you okay, Dee Dee?
Yeah, are you okay? What's going on? She put, "I fucking slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter. Her scream was so fucking loud. laugh out loud. That's angry, isn't it? She intended it, so she says to say that obviously she intended it to make it look as though it was an intruder that had killed Dee Dee and abducted Gypsy. Dee Dee's body was found 5 days after the murder.
Oh dear.
And those crime scene photos are brutal.
Yeah.
They are brutal.
Yeah. Police traced the IP address of the Facebook posts to Godejohn's home and arrested both of them. When officers found Gypsy walking unassisted, the truth about her fabricated illnesses began to unravel. The investigation revealed years of fraud and unnecessary medical procedures.
Can you imagine turning up and after being told by everyone, look, we're looking for this young girl.
She's really vulnerable.
Yeah, she's really vulnerable. And the neighbours literally say to them, you know, she's really vulnerable. She's really poorly. She's got some type of cancer. Mum's poorly as well, because Dee Dee had a lot of illnesses.
Health issues.
Health issues as well. She was diabetic, and I think that I can't remember off the bat, but can you imagine then turning up and this completely different person is stood there after hearing all that narrative that this young girl's really poorly, she's in a wheelchair?
You'd be flabbergasted, wouldn't you? Just speechless.
Fuck me sideways.
Yeah, just speechless.
Yeah.
During interviewing, when police told Gypsy that her mother was dead, she stopped for a minute and then said, "Wait, what? What?" She stopped again and said, quote, "We would never hurt her. If anything, I don't tell lies."
Oh shit.
Yeah. Gypsy, I'm afraid you do. I'm afraid you do.
I'm afraid I've never heard more of a bigger lie in my life.
Just that, you know, and is she trying plausible deniability? Is there an element of her that actually doesn't believe that they've done it? I don't know. How disassociative is she?
Well, yeah.
Although she's the one writing the Facebook's posts pretending to be a kidnapper.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Jesus. It's a tangled web she weaves.
It's a fucked case, and it is a double-edged sword.
So, in interview, when Nicholas Godejohn said, when asked whether Gypsy knew if he was going to kill her mother, he said, well, honestly, she asked me to. She said it was the only way she could be with me. Oh, God. He continued, the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mum. I will admit it. The only reason I did it was I did it for me and her. I would never have did it if it was not for me and her. I truly worship her to the point there is nothing I would not do for her.
I've seen that, and it's
you know, you said to me, obviously prior to the last pod, I hadn't watched that police interview with Godejohn, and you really, if anything, you know, come for me. I feel the most sorry for him out of all of this. I don't think he would have killed anybody.
No.
Were it not for fitting this narrative of wanting to be Gypsy's knight in shining armour, you know?
He said in his police interview, and when you watch the interview, what comes across to me is that you've got a young lad who's very vulnerable, like I said before, and actually I don't genuinely feel as if he lies at any point. And that, you know, take that as you will. You know,
he's quite black and white about it.
He's very black and white, which is obviously a trait we know of young people and adults. You know, on the spectrum, can be very black and white, can see things very, very right down the line. And when the police officer is asking him the question, she talks to him quite childlike. I think she comes across as if, you know, it's okay, Nicholas, you know, you can tell me, and what do you think? And you know, she comes across, and I think she did quite a good job, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, she does.
But I think he genuinely, everything she asks, he answers really quickly,
factually,
and quite factually.
Yeah.
And I just, out of everyone in this case, he's the one that I feel has been manipulated the most.
Yeah, I get you.
You know?
Public reaction split into two narratives. So, you know, one was that Gypsy had spent years being emotionally and physically abused, or that she had become a master manipulator after living under one.
Which is...
I kind of think it's both.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
It's both.
It is, absolutely. There was trauma, but reasons, not excuses.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Some believe Gypsy exploited Nick's learning difficulties. Others felt her planning of the murder was the result of prolonged trauma. Christy, Rod's wife, said Gypsy looked at her with fear in court when prosecutors revealed the text messages detailing the premeditation of the murder. See, I saw that look.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the, and that's a look of, oh fuck. I'm found out.
Yeah.
That wasn't a look necessarily of fear as in what happens next, stepmom.
Am I going
please
to go to
protect
prison?
me.
Exactly.
It is.
That was a fuck.
Oh,
it's all
they've got
coming
those,
out.
have they?
Yeah.
In 2016, Gypsy accepted a plea deal for second-degree murder.
Of course she did.
And received a 10-year sentence, avoiding the death penalty and a trial. Nicholas went to trial. He was convicted of first-degree murder and received a life sentence without parole.
Yeah, that's, I mean, don't get me wrong, he murdered someone.
He did.
Full stop. He murdered someone. You know, you do that, you pay the consequences, end of.
Yeah.
But I agree with your earlier statement. I just don't think if she hadn't gone to the extents that she had of reeling him in, fish on a line, understanding that vulnerability and using it against him, I don't know. I don't think he would have killed anyone else.
And if there wasn't Nicholas,
it
would
would
there
have been
somebody else?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
To meet that protector role, to meet that save me, you're my master.
We know that she's already done it with Dan.
We're going to be together. Yeah. During her time at Chillicothe Correctional Centre, Gypsy received letters from supporters across the country, some expressing sympathy, others fascination, and some from men drawn to her notoriety.
Honestly, I can guarantee you, if you put it into a search engine, there's a fetish out there for anyone.
Yeah, there really is.
No kink shaming by any means.
No.
But fucking Gypsy-Rose Blanchard.
Depending on how this pod goes, I might be selling my underpants at some point. So let's not draw a line. Let's not cross out all opportunities. I
mean, look,
for future investment purposes.
I'm not adverse to some feet pics and a couple of toenail clippings in a jiffy.
I mean, what's?
Do you know what I mean?
What's not? You know,
look,
it's
ways and means for earning a bob or two. Is what I'm saying.
If it meets a need and it costs nothing to me, you can have my elastically stretched drawers. My elasticity compromised, saggy old pants. Anywho,
oh Christ.
Side note for future ideas.
Yeah.
During her time in prison, Gypsy met Ken Urker through a pen pal program.
Well, we know about Ken, don't we?
He wrote to her after seeing her documentary, and the two became engaged in 2018. They split in 2019. And in 2020, Gypsy met Ryan Anderson after he wrote to her while she was still incarcerated. Gypsy and Ryan became engaged and then married in July 2022 while Gypsy was still in prison.
Even then, she's looking for that.
Save me.
She's reaching out for something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take a bit of time. Babe, you're behind bars. Do you know what I mean? Can you get any further removed from the real world?
But what has she ever known different? What has she ever known different other than getting her needs met by
attention?
Either woe is me,
attention.
I'm poorly, I need you,
yeah,
I'm stuck where I shouldn't be, I'm unfairly incarcerated. You know, any of those agendas, she's getting her needs met by linking with these people who want to save her, protect her, feel sorry for her, live up to this notoriety of the person that she was, and there's a thrill in that maybe with what she's done, you know.
I tell you what though, if I was either of those lads, I'd have been sleeping, well obviously not in prison time, I'd have been sleeping with one eye open.
Fucking hell. Because things don't end naturally, do they? They end in Gypsy-Rose's life with an explosive
with her narrative.
Quality. Yeah.
When she was released in December 2023, after serving 8 years of her 10-year sentence, she entered a new phase marked by intense media attention and increasingly erratic public behaviour, which we know a lot of.
Yeah.
Her marriage to Ryan ended quickly, and they separated in March 2024, and Gypsy filed for divorce in the April. No messing about, straight in there. In the same month, she reconciled with Ken.
Well,
I mean, that's a woman that can't be on her own for 5 minutes, isn't it?
Clearly not.
A timing that led some observers to speculate that the reunion had been pre-planned and that marrying Ryan had been a strategic choice to present stability ahead of her release. And I think maybe what some people were saying, that he was a teacher and, he just looked better on paper.
Yeah, I get that.
Gypsy and Ken went on to have a daughter in December 2024. Since leaving prison, Gypsy launched social media accounts that gained hundreds of thousands of followers within days. She posted makeup tutorials, selfies and videos discussing her marriage, her past and her future. She gave interviews to major networks, appeared on talk shows and participated in new documentary projects. She also underwent reconstructive surgery, including rhinoplasty and septoplasty. Gypsy has become a public figure for whose story continues to provoke debate, scrutiny and fascination. And quite frankly, lots and lots of questions.
I mean, good God, you kind of, if you watch anything of the stuff that she's done since being released from prison, and it is proper car crash television.
It is, it's the whole shit show.
You know, do you know what? People will go at Gypsy for doing what she's doing. However, we're in a society with a media that is lapping the fuck of that up. Because if they weren't, then there wouldn't be documentaries and there wouldn't be... I've sat and watched them, you know, out of interest. I didn't know who Gypsy-Rose was until I watched the first series, you know, about what happened on the Netflix documentary and stuff, and I had no idea. And I'm one of those people. I'm a true crime fan. I'm going to watch that stuff. But you see her, sometimes her mental decline in front of you. And
she's
her
very
contradicting herself.
Exactly that. She's very contradictive, and stories change and differ at the drop of a hat. From one season to the next. She probably changes her stories more than she changes her knickers. And like I said previously, we are never going to have Dee Dee's full explanation because of what happened to her. That woman did not deserve to be murdered. No matter what she did, she should have served time for what she did. She should have paid the consequences for what she did. She did not deserve to be murdered. I think Gypsy probably knew more from a younger age around the con, if I'm honest with you. That's my thoughts, than what she let on. And probably thought, well, this is nice. I'm getting all my princess dresses and I'm getting my stuffed animals and my trips to Orlando and whatnot. And why shouldn't I? However, I feel that she obviously rebelled and was probably an extremely difficult child after everything she'd been through. And I think Dee Dee probably tried to manage it the only way she knew how. And I think that inevitably what's come from all that shit show is a vulnerable young man who is now serving time for something he shouldn't have done, granted, but I think he was manipulated, and she's not going to change her behaviours now she's out of prison because she knows no better.
Exactly. It's that whole monkey see, monkey do. This is how I've been role modelled to get my needs met. This is how I've been role modelled to get people to love me and to talk to me and to look after me and to give me things.
And give me that attention I need.
She's out, and this media cycle is invested in seeing whatever plays out now for
whatever
Gypsy
car
Rose
crash is going to happen.
And her current child and her future children. And I just hope that those who love her can be a stabling force for the sake of her future and the future of her children. I really think,
I think she's quite close to Rod and Christy now. From what I gather, he seems quite, from what I've read, the police interviews that I've watched, the documentary that I watched. I mean, I don't know the full story around him, but I feel that he's probably quite a stabilised person. Who knows? Again, you're never going to know the full truth, are you, of anyone? But
for me, the thing that really stands out about this case is that in the previous cases that we've done and the ones that we're looking at in future, there is a clear victim and a clear perpetrator.
Absolutely.
And in this case, there are 3 victims. And 3 perpetrators. To different degrees, and
100%.
But that,
and that's exactly what I mean by it being a double-edged sword, because a tragedy has happened, and I don't think we'll ever. I mean, we obviously know behind the crime, but I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of Gypsy's narrative.
No.
But here we are. So hopefully, those that did have a little gripe with the previous case are now feeling a little bit more contained about it. Those that have given us massively, really positive comments, like the amazing Sarah, that is one of your very best friends, who said something really lovely to you today about us.
She did.
So her and her sister.
Yeah, make a 3 o'clock appointment on Thursday every week, and they listen to the pod together.
And that's what we do it for. We, like I said, I like to cross all T's, dot all I's, and maybe I dropped a bollock on the last one and I'll hold my hands up on that. However, what I will then do is rectify it and go back and add in, you know, extra information needed to be added in. But you guys that give us the really positive feedback, you're the ones that we really enjoy interacting with and appreciate listening to us and recognise the hard work that we do.
Yeah.
You know, we love getting it out there to you guys.
And we love getting it out in general.
We do. But yeah, so anyway, again, follow along on those socials. You know, we've got that Facebook page, make your comments, but do keep them
just
constructive.
Give some feedback. Yeah, just
positively constructive.
Exactly, rather than damning things.
Don't be rude.
You know, there's no need for rudeness. There's no, and we know we're talking about very emotive subjects.
Yeah, and
we
also
know that there are people who are going to like or dislike our view, our take, our opinion, but the research that goes into these cases is very time consuming and very thorough, and we stand by that research.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I don't fuck about.
You don't fuck about, mate.
I don't fuck about, mate.
On that note, once this episode is re-edited and put up again, there will be links on our Facebook page, as I've done for previous, for additional information. You will be able to see some of those interviews that are on the Freedom of Information files for USA cases, and make up your own minds.
Indeed,
as ever,
indeed.
If you wish to.
But yes, again, follow us, like us, comment, give us future cases that you want us to waffle on through.
Aye.
And
always up for a waffling.
Oh, I love a bit of waffling. But again, thank you to everyone for listening.
Thank you, my friends. Until next time.
Take care of you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.